The way out.
The way out.
You cannot
peaceful
be
demonstrations.
Well, let me tell you.
Peaceful demonstrations.
Let me tell you. For me,
yeah.
I told you here in this, that after I saw things in Parliament, I've told you this has strengthened me in terms of demonstration. It has. Because I also know, contrary to what I thought, that where we have reached, the leadership we are having, they are not going to listen to this constitution. They are going to find ways. I mean, why would you hurry if you know some matter is like to be in court? You want to swear people in very early in the morning, reminiscent of the late evening swearing in of Kibaki, and you see what it did. When this thing fails, we go back to the people. And let me tell you, there's something you don't know about the leadership, our leader, Honorable Raila, is that it reaches a point when he has exhausted that, he leaves you and you're going to face the people. Because those are the power he has. It's not even his. The power he has comes from the people. So those people that you are saying, we are going to wait and you will see when they face the people who elect them, the members of ODM party, the leader of majority can protect them in Parliament because of they are now ignoring even the constitution, even the orders of Parliament, but they will face the wrath of the people. But let me also ask you a question you've been asking many. Azimio has principles. Honorable Raila is one. Martha Karua, a very respectable person, a very respectable leader. He has been a minister, constitutional affairs, has been a party leader. We have Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, has been even a vice president. We have Honorable Oparanya, we have Jeremiah Cohen. Have you wondered why these people, they are not mentioned? Me, I think it is also deliberate to kind of alienate them from Honorable Raila, because when we meet, every time you meet, you see them. Every time I've gone with our meetings, I see, it's very clear to me that this is Azimio, these are the Azimio
leadership.
leaders, and we respect them.
So in what sense are you saying they are alienated?
Because you just want to make it, this is all
Focus
Raila,
on Raila.
there's nobody. You think they don't consult on the things they do? They do.
Isn't Raila the lead figure now of Azimio?
But why are we
so
totally ignoring all this other? And then you now bring him, you say he's the lead figure of Azimio, that then quickly you pull him down and say now he's the leader of ODM.
Yeah, that
you
is
can't
actually,
have that, your cake and eat
that was what I actually had exception to. Burdening with guilt and shame. Burdening with guilt and shame. Making ridiculous.
But let me
making invisible.
Let me tell you. let me tell you. Let me tell those people. If we don't follow this, there's only one way out. I'll tell you what Desmond Tutu once said when he was in Kenya.
So
that bad laws and refusing to follow good laws have the same impact. So that if you're refusing to follow your own laws, you are as bad as a person making bad laws. And then what do the people do with the bad laws? They are even impossible to implement. Look at these CASs. They are going to have a pot of, to begin with, remember, Parliament declined to vet them because at least I give our speaker a lot of respect for that. Yes. Because he didn't see the legal framework under which we are vetting them.
Right.
Now they are going to hold those positions. The other question we'll ask you, you think now we as Parliament would expect these CASs to come before us and then prosecute things of the executive while the House said we don't see how you are vetted? Once you break something, it just spirals on.
Sounds to me like it's already you're stifled. You don't have a voice, even when that particular issue will come to the floor of the House. From your own admission,
today you are surprising me.
No, from your own admission, your voice has been muffled, and the only way out is to go to the streets.
You are right.
So any legislation that will come that you think, it has to be broached, it is contentious, you don't have the...
And let me add you to that.
And what I find surprising as well is the fact that, Professor, you elect to say that we can actually talk about Azimio without really talking about ODM, Raila Odinga.
No, we can.
Yeah,
but please,
but you do all of it. You don't.
This is what I'm raising.
No, we can't. No. That's not what you are doing. That's not what you were doing. Maybe you didn't intend to, but you know, communication, that's not what I had.
That is a perception.
That's not what Kenyans
had.
You see, when you're talking about, please let's do a distinction between leadership and leader. When you're speaking of Azimio, there is the Azimio leadership, and we would like to see the principles. Please, and you cannot downplay them. Even when you play all this, you will see them. You will see them. And then when you come to the parties, please do not single out ODM. When you're dealing with Azimio, then now you
I haven't
need...
seen any problems with other parties so far. It's only
Really?
ODM that we, yes.
No, you know.
No, you're the one who's really talking about the problems that within ODM right now. It's because of what is happening with some of this party hopping that is happening.
Yes.
But did the rain start beating you?
Party purchase, not party hopping.
As you put it, party purchase.
Yeah.
Because that historically, that is not really, even going back to the general election and the inter-party democracy on the nominations, still there was a lot.
No, but I just want to draw your attention, even as I do this from outside, I watched even what was happening in the Senate and the other places. It's not just ODM. Let's be honest and say that there is a way in which the Azimio as a team that was then constituting large numbers was being under attacked. And it was not just ODM. I don't want to go to the point of telling you parties, but you do know that when we were in the House and we were dealing with leadership, and the majority that was seen to be in the parliament was not ODM, it was Azimio. So I just want to get us back to the point where, as I indicated, what we would need to really just accept that we are at a point where the gains that we made, very unfortunately, the gains that we made with regards to getting a people-oriented leadership. You know, leadership is most functional when it is you-centered. And the gains that we made with the 2010 Constitution, the gains that we made with even trying to devolve, to clip this idea of, you know, power at one center, the gains that we made by allowing the people to then not only have a voice to those that they elect, but to hold them to their account, they are being deliberately eroded. And we don't want to argue, because with Parliament we have seen. And we really want to thank the judiciary, because there is a sense that they began to look like they were getting back what they seem to have lost. We don't even want to castigate the civil society, because I think other than LSK, we have not exactly had them come out. But what we want to say, and this is something I said in 2018 when I was on a program, I called on the CEO then, that was the former President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, as I would now like to call on the CEO now, to say that we cannot afford to roll back gains that were made, especially given that the population that we have now, you see them going to the streets, they are aware that they have a constitutional right to picket. You will come with procedures that you can use a parliament that has been muffled and that does not indicate what it is that needs to be said and has ceased to represent them, and you will think you will silence them. I really want to say that it is extremely important for us in Kenya to wake up. We could not have made this much gains and then by a stroke take them back, and then we all blame Raila. That's actually what I wanted to tell you.
Thank you.
Wake up, smell the coffee.
Thank you.
This is Kenya 2010 Constitution being clacked back. Raila happens to be part of the leadership that is standing up to say no.
All right. Or when you call your closing remarks.
If we use the majority we have, whichever way you get it, to glorify impunity, we are sending the country down the slippery path. And ours, as members of in the parliament who are not part of that majority that wants to glorify impunity, we'll talk in parliament, but we now will be more keen to talk to the people and explain to the people what we can't do in parliament, because people in parliament are not debating anymore, but just using the majority to glorify impunity and strengthen it in the executive.
Thank you. All right. Professor, you wanted to give your closing remarks as well?
Just my appeal to Kenyans, that we have had history where it was said that Kenya is too big for any individual's ego. And at the end of the day, authority and power rests with government. And therefore, my appeal is that we need to ensure that these early warning signs wake us up as leadership with authority, but also as Kenyans to turn up, speak, and defend our country.
Right. Professor Jacqueline Oduol, thank you, politician, and also Dr. James Yikala. I really appreciate your input this morning. Yeah, the two of you have really put up very good arguments. I really want to appreciate that. So thank you so very much. But even as we're winding up, I was wondering, one of the key elements that we see that we in this morass stuck in is the fact that we have a presidential system and the parliamentary system. I thought one of the issues that we'll put as a key component in your petition will be maybe even to hold a referendum so that we do not really have a winner takes it all, and one is suffering also in the streets as it is right now, trying to call for electoral justice as it were. Maybe that will be a modicum of respite for even Kenyans and their businesses as well. Thank you very much. Nonetheless, for your... No, we have to wind up because you gave your closing remarks. Rules of debate, thank you so much. We need, thank you. It will be opening remarks.